Have you ever wondered how a single unexpected encounter could transform your entire life? Welcome to Motivation for Success, where we share inspiring and eye-opening stories designed to spark change in you. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to our channel right now. We want you to be part of our growing community, where every tale carries a powerful lesson. In today's story, we'll follow a waiter who insults none other than Snoop Dogg, unaware of the superstar's true identity, and how one night at a luxury restaurant sets in motion an incredible chain of events. Picture a bustling city called Brighton, known for its glittering nightlife and luxury establishments tucked away among towering skyscrapers. Amid the neon signs and trendy hotspots, there's a discreet fine dining restaurant named Elysian Heights. Inside, the walls are lined with softly glowing panels, accented by the hush of conversation and the aroma of gourmet dishes. It's here that an unsuspecting young man named Raphael works as a waiter. He's been on his feet since midday, exhausted from countless shifts that blend together, waiting on well-heeled patrons who rarely look up from their phones. Raphael doesn't know it yet, but one particular customer, wearing a simple black pullover and jeans, is about to change his life. That customer is Snoop Dogg, a man who walked in wearing a humble outfit that most here would consider out of place. But the real twist lies in how Raphael treats this visitor. By the end of the night, lines of class, fame, and fortune will all be blurred in ways no one could have predicted. Ready to dive in? Let's begin. A gentle rain taps against the expansive windows of Elysian Heights. As the droplets shimmer in the city lights, diners inside settle into plush seats beneath gold-toned chandeliers. From the open kitchen, you can see the flurry of activity, apron chefs spinning plates, garnishing steaming entrees, and calling out orders. The hum of conversation rises and falls, punctuated by the clicking of heels on polished marble. Standing at the entrance podium is Kylie, the hostess, who greets guests with a courteous smile. Tonight, her bun is pinned tight, and her polished demeanor matches the high standards of the restaurant. She's flipping through the reservation list when Snoop Dogg approaches in his black pullover, looking as if he might be more at home at a casual diner than a high-end establishment. Kylie, barely glancing up, asks in a disinterested tone, "Table for one?" "Yes, please," Snoop Dogg replies. "Someplace away from the windows, if possible." He appears weary, as if he's been juggling too many tasks, projects, media headlines, business deals. For once, he just wants anonymity, a moment's peace away from the frenzy of the spotlight. In the kitchen, Chef Milo is orchestrating the busy staff, while another waiter named Haley finishes garnishing a plate of roasted vegetables. But the person who matters most to our story is Raphael, who stands by the coffee machine, waiting for a cappuccino to finish frothing. He's overheard snickers from his colleagues about the oddly dressed man now seated at table 12. Raphael feels the sharp sting of cynicism creeping in. He's seen guests come in dressed casually before, only to leave meager tips. And with his personal life in turmoil, cynicism has become his armor. Not far from the hostess stand, Raphael checks his watch. Another night, another shift. But tonight, he's weighed down by more than tired feet. His sister's college tuition bill looms, and his mother's medical treatments have drained what little savings he managed to squirrel away. Worst of all, the restaurant's manager, Jonas, has been on him about upholding the formal tone expected of a premier establishment like Elysian Heights. Before approaching any table, Raphael practices a forced, polite smile in a reflective surface, whispering under his breath, "Just survive this shift." Then he notices Snoop Dogg seated by himself at table 12. Immediately, a judgment forms: why is he wearing a plain black pullover? He must have stumbled into the wrong place. Jonas motions for him. "That table is yours," the manager says in a low voice. "Make sure he's taken care of," politely. The emphasis on the last word is not lost on Raphael. Adopting his best professional demeanor, Raphael approaches. "Good evening," he says, setting down a menu. "My name is Raphael. I'll be serving you tonight. Would you like a drink while you decide?" Snoop Dogg looks up from his phone, faint circles under his eyes testifying to a packed schedule. Just a whiskey neat, thanks. Whichever brand you have. Raphael narrows his gaze slightly. This place is famous for its elaborate wine list, not for whiskey, he thinks. Nonetheless, he forces a nod. Coming right up, he says, though his tone is edged with judgment. The seed of conflict is planted, and it won't take long for it to sprout into a life-altering event. At the bar, Haley notices Raphael's furrowed brow. You look annoyed, she remarks. Everything okay? Raphael snorts softly. Table 12 wants a whiskey. Not even the good stuff, he doesn't care about the brand. Imagine coming to a top-tier restaurant and ignoring the specialty wine list. Haley arches an eyebrow. Raphael, you're stressed. Don't project it onto your customers. But Raphael can't help himself. A coil of resentment tightens in his chest. He's seen so many big talkers, so many industry folks who come in dressed down yet flash wads of cash at the end or cause a scene to get attention. Whether they're real or wannabe celebrities, each one leaves him more jaded. Returning to table 12, Raphael sets the glass down with less care than usual, a few drops of whiskey splashing onto the linen. Snoop Dogg takes a cursory sip without complaint. Any recommendations? He asks, flipping open the menu. That question irritates Raphael. He probably doesn't know half the dishes here, he muses. Aloud, he says in a clipped voice, our specials are all excellent. Perhaps start with our soup of the day. It's simpler on the palate. The tone suggests he doesn't believe Snoop Dogg can handle the complexities of the menu. Snoop Dogg merely smiles, politely scanning the options. Outside, the rain intensifies, and thunder rumbles. Inside, tension escalates further as Raphael's grudges bubble dangerously close to the surface. Little does Raphael know, each of his barely concealed jabs is about to be recorded, and the quiet man at table 12 is no ordinary guest. As more diners trickle in, Elysian Heights hums with conversations. Wealthy couples clink crystal glasses, corporate groups discuss lucrative deals over 5-course meals. Against this backdrop, Snoop Dogg stands out subtly, but not for reasons anyone around him suspects. Raphael, now laden with multiple orders, continues to harbor silent judgments. When Snoop Dogg requests the foie gras, Raphael raises an eyebrow. Foie gras is quite refined, he says, letting his voice drip with disdain. It may not be, to everyone's taste. Snoop Dogg nods. I'd like to try it. Then the fillet after, medium rare. Very well, Raphael mutters, scribbling on his notepad. With each new order, his tone grows more condescending. When Snoop Dogg mispronounces Bordeaux, Raphael can't resist a pointed correction. It's Bordeaux, sir. Not Bordeaux. The neighboring table, a pair celebrating an anniversary, exchange uneasy glances. They can't help overhearing the sharpness in Raphael's tone. Snoop Dogg, however, remains calm, even looking mildly amused. Raphael interprets that calm as cluelessness. He doesn't even realize he's being insulted. Back in the kitchen, Chef Milo plates the foie gras with delicate garnish. Who's that for? He asks as he slides the plate onto the pass. Table 12, Haley replies. The man in the black pullover. Chef Milo frowns. Not many people come here dressed like that. Must be an eccentric. If only Chef Milo or any of the staff recognized Snoop Dogg's face. If only they realized his quiet demeanor was deliberate, a temporary break from the trappings of fame. But ignorance holds its ground. And Raphael, oblivious, marches onward, fully convinced he's dealing with a man who doesn't belong. Once the main course arrives, Snoop Dogg does the unthinkable. He casually asks if the kitchen has any ketchup. By now, Raphael is so appalled that he can't hide a slow, disbelieving shake of his head. Ketchup? For a $120 fillet, he hisses. Snoop Dogg simply nods, a faint smile hinting at some private joke. At the table next to them, a trio of entertainment executives lean in to watch, intrigued. One among them discreetly takes out a phone and begins filming the exchange. The story unfolding in front of them is too fascinating to ignore. Here is a man openly disrespected by a waiter, yet not once has he raised his voice or demanded to see the manager. Noticing the slight glimmer of a lens, Snoop Dogg shifts in his seat, partly turning away from the camera. He's used to being filmed, but tonight, he sought a break. Still, if the moment is captured, so be it. I'll have to record a few notes of my own, he murmurs. Pulling out his phone, he discreetly activates a voice recorder. Raphael pays no attention, too busy delivering biting remarks. From the kitchen pass, Chef Milo shakes his head at the ketchup request, muttering, "Sacrilege." Haley glances nervously in Raphael's direction, as if to warn him, "You're going too far." But Raphael, shoulders hunched, strides to the bar to fetch ketchup anyway. As he does, his phone buzzes in his apron pocket, another message from his mother about doctor's visits and overdue bills. "I don't need this right now," he tells himself, tossing the phone aside. His frustrations about money, life, and the restaurant bubble dangerously, looking for a target. And that target, unfortunately, has become Snoop Dogg. When dinner service starts to wind down, the chatter among diners fades into a low murmur. Rain still patters on the windows, and a hush falls over the restaurant. Snoop Dogg finishes his meal, yes, even with ketchup, and beckons Raphael over. "Could I see the dessert menu?" he asks. "I heard your soufflé is extraordinary." Raphael's eyes flick toward the swirling chocolate soufflé on display near the kitchen. "You may find it intense. Our pastries are quite sophisticated," he says in a tone that suggests Snoop Dogg might be out of his depth. At a nearby table, one of the entertainment executives can barely stifle laughter. The irony is thick, if only Raphael realized who he's talking to. Pulling out his phone once more, Snoop Dogg quietly angles the mic in Raphael's direction. Suddenly, manager Jonas appears, drawn by the undercurrent of tension he's sensed all evening. "Good evening, sir," Jonas says to Snoop Dogg, shooting a warning glance at Raphael. "Is your meal to your liking?" Snoop Dogg sets his napkin aside. "Everything's been enlightening, let's say." Jonas, perplexed by the cryptic answer, tries to gauge the situation. "We appreciate your patronage. If you need anything at all, I'll let you know," Snoop Dogg interjects. With that, Jonas nods and steps away, but not before giving Raphael another stern look. Behind the scenes, Haley attempts to clue Raphael in. "He looks familiar," she whispers. "I can't place him, but I know that face." Raphael shrugs off her concern. "He's probably a guy who doesn't realize he can't afford this place. Wait until the check arrives." Finally, the time comes for the bill. After a night of sampling foie gras, filet, and premium wine, plus that controversial ketchup, Snoop Dogg's tab soars past $2,000. Raphael anticipates a fiasco. He'll try to contest the charges or claim he left his wallet at home, he thinks. "I'll give Jonas the signal when the card gets declined." Approaching the table, Raphael sets the leather-bound check presenter down with a flourish. "Your total, sir. Let me know if you have any questions about the cost." The implied jab lands hard. Even the table celebrating a birthday behind them falls silent, craning their necks to observe. Snoop Dogg takes out a sleek black card from his worn wallet, one that's heavier and more minimalist than ordinary credit cards. Raphael hesitates, he's never seen a card quite like this, and a flicker of recognition tugs at him. It's rumored that certain celebrities and ultra-high net worth individuals have exclusive membership cards. But, no, it can't be. He processes the payment. The machine beeps approvingly. There's no decline, no awkward moment. Instead, it's a seamless, successful transaction. Raphael feels his stomach knot. Who is this guy? Snoop Dogg stands, sliding the black pullover back over his shoulders. Thanks for your service, he says quietly, an undercurrent of amusement in his voice. He's about to speak again when one of the executives from the neighboring table approaches, phone in hand. The executive begins, but stops himself. He's uncertain whether to reveal Snoop Dogg's identity or let the moment unfold. Then, a jolt of realization flashes across Raphael's face, as if the missing puzzle piece has finally clicked into place. The tension is palpable, the revelation's about to flood in, and the night is far from over. As the executive steps closer, Raphael sees the phone screen showing a close-up image from an entertainment news site. The headline reads something like, "Snoop Dogg spotted working on secret project." The photo is a candid shot of Snoop Dogg wearing a nearly identical black outfit. The same stoic gaze, the same posture. Raphael's heart hammers. Memories of his earlier jibes replay in his head, the condescending remarks, the assumptions about Snoop Dogg's knowledge, his finances, and even his ability to pronounce French words. He swallows hard, color draining from his face. "Snoop Dogg," he utters under his breath. It's not a question anymore. Suddenly, the entire restaurant staff and a few remaining diners pivot their attention to table 12. Chef Milo halts in the kitchen doorway, a whisk still in hand. Haley's eyes go wide as she finally recognizes that famous face from music videos and interviews. Jonas, meanwhile, can only manage an astonished stare, one hand rubbing his temple as if warding off a headache. Snoop Dogg remains poised, arms resting on the back of the chair. "You were saying earlier," he addresses Raphael, "that I should try Burger World next time, or maybe a fast food joint." His eyes shine with gentle humor rather than anger. At that moment, every harsh word Raphael uttered echoes in the hush of the restaurant. He thinks of the unstoppable chain reaction he might have triggered. He could lose his job, face lawsuits, or be plastered on social media as the brazen waiter who insulted a global icon. Yet, Snoop Dogg doesn't look enraged. Instead, he looks entertained, as though he's discovered a fascinating specimen of raw honesty amid a sea of sycophancy. The rain outside has stopped, and the city lights twinkle through the glass like silent witnesses to this unfolding drama. A hush grips Elysian Heights as everyone leans in, waiting for Snoop Dogg's next words. Raphael, for his part, wants to vanish beneath the marble floors. Slowly, Snoop Dogg takes out his phone and taps on the screen. "I've been recording some of our conversation," he explains, "just for personal reference. It's rare to meet someone in this town who isn't afraid to speak their mind, even if it's borderline insulting." A stunned Raphael opens his mouth but no sound emerges. He glances toward Jonas, expecting immediate dismissal. Jonas himself looks torn between panic and respect, uncertain if he should intervene. "That honesty," Snoop Dogg continues, "it's something I rarely get, everybody's too busy telling me what they think I want to hear." He glances around at the small crowd of onlookers. "Raphael, right?" Raphael nods. His voice emerges at last, raspy and hoarse, "Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't know who you were." "Would it have mattered if you did?" Snoop Dogg counters. "Or would you have handed me a polished performance like everyone else in Hollywood?" Raphael's eyes brim with regret and confusion. He's spent 15 years in the service industry, quietly observing how people act and the cameras aren't rolling. In his frustration, he unleashed unfiltered honesty on the one person who least expects it, and ironically, might appreciate it the most. Snoop Dogg then breaks into a soft chuckle. "Don't worry, man. If I wanted flattery, I'd go to a press junket. Sometimes we need a reality check, someone who calls things as they see them." But the surprises aren't over yet. While Haley and Chef Milo exchange perplexed glances, Snoop Dogg slips his phone into his pocket. "Raphael, I've got a proposition for you." Raphael's breath catches. He expected anything, anger, demands for the manager, public shaming, but not this, a proposition. He thinks about his mother's mounting bills, his sister's tuition, and the dead-end sense of toiling nights at Elysian Heights. Could this be the breakthrough he never even dared hope for? I run a label, Snoop Dogg begins. We do more than just music. There are business ventures, events, communications, all that behind-the-scenes stuff. My team is top-notch, but often they're stuck in a bubble. They tell me everything's great, even when it's not. You, on the other hand, told me I was clueless about fine dining. Honestly, that's the first genuine critique I've heard in ages. Jonas, the manager, is frozen in astonishment. He pulls at his collar, unsure if he should applaud or intervene. The idea that Snoop Dogg might hire a waiter he's just met is beyond anything Jonas could have predicted. Haley stands near the bar, both intrigued and concerned. Is Snoop Dogg serious? She wonders. Chef Milo emerges from the kitchen, apron still dusted with flour, to watch the surreal scene unfold. Snoop Dogg continues, addressing Raphael in a level voice. I can't promise it'll be easy. But I need someone in my circle who isn't afraid to point out flaws, someone who sees the world from outside the stardust. He glances at Jonas, then at the dining area, taking in the array of gawking faces. You've observed enough celebrities at these tables. You know how they act when they think nobody's watching. That insight is valuable. Raphael swallows hard. Is this a dream? He half expects to wake up in his cramped apartment, alarm blaring. But I don't have any corporate experience, he manages to say. All I have is 15 years of waiting tables. And that's exactly why I want you, Snoop Dogg says, quietly but firmly. You've seen it all from the outside looking in. That's what the industry needs. A hush falls over the room as Snoop Dogg extends a hand. So, how about it? You come work for me. We'll iron out the details, but I'll make sure your family's taken care of. This is about bringing some brutal honesty into a world that's starved for it. Raphael's ears ring. Chef Milo sets down a tray of half-prepared desserts. Haley gently places her tray of used glassware on the bar. All eyes remain locked on the unfolding moment. Even the entertainment executives from earlier have stepped closer, some still filming, their mouths agape at the extraordinary turn of events. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't terrified, Raphael says. But also, relieved. My mother's health, my sister's future, it's been so difficult. His voice quivers, and for once, he allows a crack in his stoic facade. I never meant to insult you personally. I was just angry at everything else in my life. Snoop Dogg nods knowingly. Sometimes that's what honesty looks like, anger, frustration, because you're dealing with real issues. It's not pretty, but it's real. Raphael exhales, tears threatening to spill as he extends his trembling hand to meet Snoop Dogg's. The two clasp hands in a handshake that feels more like signing a new chapter of fate. Applause erupts from the staff and the few remaining customers. Jonas stands there, mouth slightly open, but soon joins in the clapping. The executives grin, whispering among themselves about the viral potential of this story. Chef Milo dabs at his eyes, a rare emotional display for the seasoned chef. Haley can barely contain her excitement, practically hopping in place. Welcome aboard, Snoop Dogg says, lowering his voice so only Raphael can hear. Just keep telling it like it is, man. I respect that. A few minutes later, Snoop Dogg caps off the night by leaving an exceptionally large tip on the table, one that covers the entire staff's wages for the evening, and then some. He signs the receipt with a flourish and quietly slips out the door, black pullover and all, melding back into the city's neon glow. Raphael remains standing, still gripping the signed receipt. A swirl of emotions floods his mind, shock, gratitude, relief, and an odd sense of destiny. It's as if all his frustration and bitterness were building up for this very moment. The staff crowds around him, eager to congratulate, to marvel. Jonas, regaining composure, lays a hand on Raphael's shoulder. No matter where you go, the manager says, just don't forget to treat people with decency. Tonight could have ended badly. Raphael looks around, the tables still decked with half-empty wine glasses, the ambient glow of the chandeliers, the hush of the few lingering diners. Everything seems surreal. Earlier this evening, he thinks, I was angry enough to lash out at a seemingly clueless diner. And now, in one of life's strangest ironies, that diner is giving me the chance of a lifetime. Haley steps forward, eyes still shining. You're leaving us, aren't you? She says softly. Raphael glances at the door Snoop Dogg just exited. I guess so, he answers. Though I never imagined it would happen like this. She smiles wistfully. Well, I hope your honesty never fades, she says. Just, maybe deliver it with a bit more tact. He laughs, a cathartic burst of joy and relief. I'll try. But if Snoop Dogg hired me for honesty, I guess he knows exactly what he's getting. Amid the laughter, the staff returns to their closing duties. The restaurant's overhead lights adjust to a soft glow, signaling that the night is wrapping up. Outside, the city breathes with renewed calm as the rainless skies reflect the glimmering city lights. Jonas organizes receipts, Chef Milo wipes down kitchen counters, and Haley counts the night's tips. Raphael slowly clears table 12. The embossed Elysian Heights logo stands out under the subtle lights. He lifts the empty whiskey glass, little more than melted ice now, and wonders how everything changed so drastically over a single meal. In the days that follow, word spreads like wildfire. Waiter insults Snoop Dogg in luxury restaurant, ends up hired by him. Social media erupts with takes, some find it hilarious, others see it as poetic justice. News outlets pick up the story, capturing the public's imagination. The video snippet from the executive's phone circulates online, amassing views by the thousands. People debate whether Raphael was too rude or if his honesty was the breath of fresh air Snoop Dogg craved. Yet for Raphael, the real impact is personal. He arranges new medical support for his mother, ensuring her treatments are paid for without question. His sister's tuition check is written promptly, alleviating the burden that had weighed them both down. For the first time in years, he sleeps without the dread of looming bills. The moral? Sometimes, what feels like your worst moment, your boiling point of pent-up frustration, can become the catalyst for unexpected blessings. Raphael had no idea that lashing out at a perceived, clueless customer would lead to an entirely new life path. But that's what makes life compelling. You never truly know how a seemingly disastrous moment may open an incredible door. And there you have it, the story of how an overworked waiter's raw honesty set him on a surprising new journey alongside Snoop Dogg. Perhaps the biggest lesson here is that genuine honesty, while risky, can break through the shallow surface of appearances. Sure, it pays to be polite. But sometimes, being real, even if it's unrefined, is exactly what the world needs. Thank you for tuning in to Motivation for Success. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing powerful stories that remind us all of life's hidden potentials. If this tale of transformation moved you, consider spreading kindness today. You never know whose life you might touch with a simple act of compassion or a moment of unfiltered truth. Keep challenging yourself, keep growing, and remember that every unexpected encounter carries the seeds of opportunity. We'll see you in the next video. Stay motivated, stay inspired, and keep making a difference.